Hey guys, I just wanted to take a minute to supplement the tax multiplier stuff we kind of wrapped up the last set of notes on, and to make sure that I also talked a little bit about non-discretionary fiscal policy. So if you remember the last set of notes, we kind of ended up with talking about the multiplier and specifically how tax changes don't actually work the same way as spending increases. And what we were basically saying is that when you issue expansionary policy, like increased government spending, the government is actually spending that money immediately on something, and that is initially actually changing GDP. Whereas when the government decides to instead cut taxes, the impact is actually once removed from the economy. So what's happening is when the government reduces taxes, they're actually not increasing G immediately. They're actually increasing people's disposable income, which is impacting the C part of GDP, the consumption part of GDP. But when people have more money, they're subject to the marginal propensity to consume, which is not 100%. They're going to save some of that money. So if the Joe Biden administration passes a tax cut to try and get people to spend more money, they'll spend more, but they're going to save some of what they're actually doing. Whereas if the government actually turns around and actually spends money on something, they're actually going to get that initial bump to GDP right away. And this is where we wrapped up that last set of notes. And so what we're seeing is the initial increase when you decrease taxes $4 million is not a $16 million jump as you'd think that the multiplier being set at 4 would be. You're actually seeing the consumers are going to save that initial $1 million and spend $3 million. And so it's that $3 million that then bounces through the economy each time people saving. And so the multiplier ends up 3 million times 4. Now, that's a little bit of an arduous step. It's an extra step, and you're welcome to figure it out that way. What I wanted to make sure that we spent some time doing is realizing that you can actually figure out a different formula for the tax multiplier, so you don't have to do the math here. Okay, so you don't have to apply that. You can use this formula right here. The tax multiplier is equal to your marginal propensity to consume divided by your marginal propensity to save. So in the previous example, we had the 0.75 and we had the $4 million increase. Our tax multiplier here would actually be 3, 0.75 divided by 0.25. And now we can apply that into this formula. We had that $4 million tax change. 4 million times 3, the multiplier, ends up with a $12 million increase in gross domestic product. Okay, so don't forget as you do this, you want to remember that your tax decrease is actually going to increase GDP. And so some people will actually leave this formula as the tax multiplier is equal to negative MPC divided by MPS. I don't add the negative and the positive because I just figure you guys already know contractionary expansionary policy. If you think about it for a moment, you'll obviously know what's going on there. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is really the last little bit of Unit 3 that you really need to know, is that non-discretionary fiscal policy. So non-discretionary fiscal policy is simply the idea that, if you remember back to some previous notes, there are laws in place that automatically, specifically step in and counteract cyclical flows. So these are things that as the economy is going up, they're automatically breaking it downward. And as the economy goes down, it's automatically pushing government spending up. And so what we're looking for is the non-discretionary fiscal policy are policies that automatically increase government spending when the economy is doing bad and decrease government spending when the government's doing good. In theory, it's also changes in taxes, but you're not going to see that. The key phrase here, this concept, is known as automatic stabilizers. So no one has to do anything. These things jump in and take effect. One of the great examples of this is our progressive income tax system. So when you think about this, the more money you make, the higher taxes you pay. And so as the average American's income goes up, 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 we increase the rate of taxes that you pay, which will actually have a downward effect on how much money you're willing to spend, because you have less and less and less disposable income as your income goes up percentage-wise. Okay? When you look at this, when your gross domestic product is down, the tax burden on consumers is pretty low. So think about it. If you guys have a job right now, you're probably not making more than $10,000 a year. And so you're in that bottom tax bracket where basically the government's saying, we got you, we'll cover you. And then when you start to make more and more and more money, then we'll go ahead and ask you to increase your pay. Well, if lots of people don't have work, lots of people have those that low income, that's going to be specifically not taking money out of the economy. It's going to be putting it in people's pockets. And as their income goes up, the government's going to go ahead and take more and more of that, which will slow the economy down. All right, you get the idea. We also talked about this concept in one of the earlier notes about unemployment. And so when you think about unemployment insurance, if lots of people are working, the government doesn't really have to pay unemployment to many people. And so government spending comes down when the economy is doing well. And then when the economy does poorly, when lots of people start losing their jobs, government spending automatically goes up. The government says, oh, you don't have enough money to make ends meet. Here, we'll supplement your income to help you get through this difficult time. Okay? Those are the ideas of that non-discretionary fiscal policy. There's a lot of other things that fall in, but there's a couple of pretty good examples. So at this point, I'm not going to go through all these. We're going to do this in class, all the different problems with fiscal policy. Unfortunately, it's not perfect. You definitely want to make sure that you realize that there are flaws in fiscal policy. So make sure you get a chance to take these notes, take a look at this stuff. You guys should, at this point, be feeling pretty good about Unit 3 and just about ready to take that exam. So thank you very much, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you the next time. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can't turn this video off. That's the wrong button. All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.